The US economy is tougher than you think, and I'm about to show you why it can withstand another war. Picture this. Global tensions are at an all-time high, conflict seems inevitable, markets are crashing, and fear grips the nation. It's a terrifying thought, right? But before you let that fear take hold, remember this. America has faced the brink of disaster before, and each time, we've risen stronger than ever. Think about World War II, a time when the world was on fire and our future seemed uncertain. Yet, we mobilized, we fought, and we emerged as a global leader. Fast forward to the Vietnam War, where internal strife threatened to tear us apart. But we didn't just survive, we rebuilt. And then came COVID-19, a pandemic that brought the world to its knees. While others faltered, we adapted, innovated, and came back swinging. These weren't just battles fought in distant lands or against an unseen virus. They were battles fought within our homes, our communities, and our very souls. As we now stand at the edge of new uncertainties in 2024, let me show you why the US economy has the heart, the grit, and the strength to face whatever comes next. This isn't just history. It's our story of survival, hope, and a nation that never quits. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. 2024 is a year unlike any we've seen in a long time, and it's putting the US economy to the test. According to Al Jazeera and CNN, the ongoing conflicts in Israel and Ukraine are causing major disruptions across the globe. These aren't just distant news stories, they're real issues affecting us right here at home. With energy prices soaring and global trade facing huge obstacles, everyday life is starting to feel the impact. And that's not all. This year, the US is also dealing with a massive election cycle that could shake things up even more. Experts from Fox News and the Wall Street Journal warn that the results of these elections could bring big changes to economic policies, adding another layer of uncertainty to an already fragile situation. Will new leaders change the way we trade, spend, or invest? These questions are weighing heavily on everyone's minds. Then there's the ongoing tension between the US and China. It's not just about trade anymore. It's about who leads in technology, especially in the field of AI. The Edge highlights how this rivalry could disrupt supply chains and raise costs, making it harder for businesses to operate smoothly. But here's the thing, the US economy has a history of pulling through tough times. During World War II, even while fighting one of the deadliest wars in history, the US economy grew stronger. The same happened after the Vietnam War. Despite the economic challenges, America found a way to bounce back. And let's not forget the COVID-19 pandemic. While the world was shutting down, the US managed to recover faster than almost anyone expected. So, as we look ahead in 2024, the question isn't just whether the US economy can survive these challenges. It's whether it can come out on top once again. History shows that when the pressure is on, the US doesn't just survive, it thrives. And that's a story worth paying attention to. What does all this mean for you and for America? The stakes in 2024 couldn't be higher. With conflicts in Israel and Ukraine creating economic shockwaves and the US-China rivalry heating up, the pressure on the US economy is mounting. According to the Wall Street Journal, these tensions are already pushing energy prices up, impacting everything from the cost of gas to the price of groceries. It's not just about what happens on Wall Street. These issues hit home for every American family. Then there's the election. With new leaders potentially stepping in, we could see shifts in how the US handles trade, military spending, and foreign policy. Fox News reports that these changes could either stabilize the economy or send it into further turmoil, depending on the outcome. That's why understanding these dynamics isn't just for economists, it's something we all need to pay attention to. But here's where it gets interesting. Despite these challenges, the US economy has a track record of bouncing back from the brink. The Edge points out that even in the darkest times, whether it was World War II, the Vietnam War, or the COVID-19 pandemic, the American economy didn't just survive, it found ways to thrive. This resilience is what gives us hope, even when the outlook seems uncertain. So why does this all matter? Because history shows us that in times of crisis, how we respond matters. The decisions made now, in 2024, will shape the future of the US economy for years to come. Whether it's rising to the challenge of global conflicts, adapting to new leadership, or innovating in the face of competition, the US economy has the potential to come out stronger if we play our cards right. But here's the big question. How does the US economy keep bouncing back, even when the odds seem stacked against us? What makes it so resilient in the face of crises, like the threat of a recession or even a stock market crash in 2024? Stick around, because I'm going to show you the numbers and strategies that have kept America strong. And if you're finding this discussion insightful, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps us continue bringing you crucial information that matters. Let's break down what really drives the resilience of the US economy, especially as we face the possibility of another economic downturn in 2024. First, let's talk about military spending. The United States allocates a staggering $801 billion annually to defense, more than the next 10 countries combined, according to the Wall Street Journal. This isn't just about defense, it's a massive driver of economic activity. During World War II, military spending boosted the US GDP by nearly 50%, leading to one of the greatest economic expansions in history. Even today, this spending fuels innovations in technology, aerospace, and cybersecurity, which are crucial for maintaining economic growth. Then there's the diversity of the US economy, which acts as a safeguard against global disruptions. The US GDP stands at around $25 trillion, with sectors like technology, finance, agriculture, and energy each contributing billions. For example, during the COVID-19 pandemic, the tech industry alone grew by over 6%, with companies like Amazon reporting a 38% increase in net sales, according to CNN. This diversity ensures that when one sector suffers, others can keep the economy moving forward, preventing a total economic collapse. Innovation is another key factor. The US is home to some of the most groundbreaking companies in the world, with the tech industry contributing over $2 trillion to the economy annually, as reported by The Edge. Even during economic slowdowns, American companies continue to push boundaries, particularly in fields like artificial intelligence, AI, and green technology. For instance, the AI industry is expected to contribute nearly $16 trillion to the global economy by 2030, with the US leading the charge. This relentless drive for innovation has been a critical factor in the US economy's ability to adapt and thrive, even under pressure. And let's not forget the global influence of the US dollar. As the world's reserve currency, the US dollar is involved in 88% of all foreign exchange transactions, according to the Wall Street Journal. This gives the US unparalleled power in global trade and finance, allowing it to borrow at lower interest rates and maintain stability, even in volatile markets. It's a unique advantage that has helped the US weather past financial storms and will be crucial as we navigate the challenges of 2024. So, as we face potential geopolitical tensions with countries like China and the looming threat of a recession 2024, it's these strengths, military spending, economic diversity, innovation, and global influence that give us hope. But the big question remains, will these be enough to pull us through? Or are we heading towards an economic crisis? Why it matters to you. The US economy is under unprecedented stress, with key indicators flashing warning signs of a looming recession. Just recently, Brent crude oil surged past $110 per barrel due to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, driving up energy costs and pushing household expenses higher by over 8%, according to the Wall Street Journal. This isn't just about numbers. This is about your day-to-day life becoming more expensive, with gas prices and heating bills taking a bigger chunk out of your paycheck. Meanwhile, the stock market has been on a roller coaster, with the S&P 500 experiencing a sharp decline of over 10% in the last few weeks, the worst drop since the early days of the pandemic. This drop has left many Americans, especially those with 401k plans or stock investments, deeply worried about their financial future. The prospect of a stock market crash is becoming more real, and it's not just the wealthy who will feel the pain. It's everyone who's been saving for retirement or trying to build a nest egg. The tension doesn't stop there. The relationship between the US and China is deteriorating, with tariffs increasing by 25% and trade relations souring. This has driven up the cost of imported goods by 15% this year alone. making everyday items like electronics and clothing more expensive, according to CNBC. These price hikes are squeezing American families, already dealing with rising inflation, which remains stubbornly high at 6.5%. And then there's the political landscape. President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris are facing immense pressure to stabilize the economy while managing international conflicts and domestic challenges. The Federal Reserve has responded to high inflation with aggressive interest rate hikes, but these have also slowed down economic growth to a near standstill, with GDP growth for the second quarter barely hitting 1%, reports the New York Times. There's a real fear that we could be heading into a recession soon, one that could be as severe as the 2008 financial crisis. What can be done? This isn't just a distant concern, it's a crisis that affects you directly. Rising costs, shaky stock market, and the threat of a recession are putting pressure on every household in America. But there's still time to take action. The US economy is resilient, but only if we make the right choices. Stay informed about how these global and domestic issues impact your life. Support policies that promote innovation, fiscal responsibility, and strong international alliances. President Joe Biden and Kamala Harris need the support of informed citizens as they navigate these challenges. Protect your financial future by diversifying your investments, building up an emergency fund, and staying engaged in the political process. The strength of the US economy isn't just about numbers on a screen, it's about the collective actions of millions of Americans. If this message resonates with you, please like this video, share it with those who need to hear it, and subscribe for more crucial updates. Together, we can navigate these challenges and secure a better tomorrow. The Biden-Harris administration is standing on the edge of a precipice, confronting a world that seems to be shifting beneath their feet. The very foundations of the US economy are being tested as new global alliances rise, challenging America's dominance in ways that could alter the course of history. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, have always been on the radar, but now, with Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia joining their ranks, they're no longer just an economic bloc. They're a force that's rewriting the rules of global finance. The creation of the new development bank by BRICS and their push to trade in currencies other than the US dollar is a direct challenge to the dollar's supremacy. And then there's Saudi Arabia, signaling its willingness to trade its vast oil reserves in currencies other than the dollar. This isn't just a political maneuver. It's a potential death knell for the petrodollar system that has kept the US economy afloat for decades. According to CNN, this shift could erode the dollar's value, triggering inflation like we haven't seen in years, and shaking the very core of American economic power. The impact on the stock market has been immediate and brutal. Just this week, the Dow Jones plummeted over 2,000 points, a crash that has sent shockwaves through every corner of the economy. This isn't just about investors losing money. It's about millions of Americans watching their retirement savings evaporate, their financial futures thrown into uncertainty. The fear of a looming recession has become almost palpable, with markets reflecting the growing anxiety that the US could be heading for another financial disaster on par with 2008. As if that weren't enough, the political climate is boiling over. A cyber hack during a high-profile interview with Donald Trump has further inflamed tensions. The broadcast, which was meant to be a platform for Trump to criticize the administration's handling of the economy, was disrupted in a way that has raised serious concerns about the security of America's digital infrastructure. In a world where cyber threats are becoming more sophisticated by the day, this incident has highlighted just how vulnerable we are at a time when we can least afford it. And then, there's the battle over the budget. Billions of dollars that were desperately needed for social care to support struggling Americans are now being funneled into the defense industry. The ongoing conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East, coupled with rising tensions with China, have forced the Biden-Harris administration to prioritize military spending. This $105 billion aid package, including substantial military support for Ukraine and Israel, is a clear signal of where the administration's priorities lie. but at what cost? As more money is channeled into defense, fewer resources are available to address the social crises here at home. Rising homelessness, healthcare costs, and the fraying social safety net that so many Americans depend on. The energy crisis is another ticking time bomb. With Saudi Arabia now open to trading oil in currencies other than the dollar, the stakes couldn't be higher. The administration is scrambling to accelerate investments in renewable energy and boost domestic production, but these are long-term solutions for an immediate crisis. The pressure is mounting, and the question remains, can the US maintain its economic stability in the face of these unprecedented challenges? Looming over all of this is the political quagmire. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are caught in a storm, with opponents like Donald Trump seizing on every perceived misstep, advocating for policies that would dramatically shift the country's focus inward. The reallocation of funds from social programs to defense is fueling this divide, creating a political landscape that's as volatile as the economy. The decisions made in the coming weeks and months will determine not just the fate of the US economy, but the very future of America's place in the world. The pressure is immense, the stakes could not be higher, and the outcome is anything but certain. But one thing is clear, this is a moment of reckoning, and how we respond will shape the world for generations to come. Now, before we explore what all these seismic shifts mean for the future of America, take a moment to consider the gravity of the situation. The dollar under threat, markets in free fall, and political tensions boiling over. If you're finding value in this discussion, and you want to stay ahead as these events unfold, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. The decisions being made today will have consequences for all of us, and you won't want to miss what happens next. Trust me, this story is far from over. As we look at the challenges facing the US economy today, it's clear that we're in one of the toughest spots we've ever faced. With the dollar under threat from the growing BRICS alliance, the stock market tumbling, and political tensions heating up at home, the decisions made by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in the coming months will shape not just the economy, but our everyday lives. The big question is, can America weather this storm? Will we find a way to rise above these challenges, or are we heading toward a recession that could change everything? The pressure is real, and the stakes couldn't be higher. How we respond now will impact not just our economy, but the future of our country. This is a moment that will be remembered. The choices made today will define who we are tomorrow. It's a test of our strength, our resilience, and our ability to come together when it matters most. America has faced tough times before, but what happens next will depend on the decisions we make right now.